Now see, they saw that we were quiet quitting because they were expecting too much of us, and they said, nah, they want the power for themselves. So they stopped hiring people. That's what they did. Now all the leverage is on the companies. I know I said that, but it just makes sense. So we're about 5 years removed from the pandemic, yet it still seems like things are getting worse and worse. Now there are a lot of layoffs going on, right, which we will cover that in another video. But today we're going to be talking about just the fact that people can't even find a job to begin with. Now, as a Gen Zer myself, I know the personal experience of, sending out hundreds of applications, not getting a single, even review. And I know there's a lot of people in the older generation that just don't quite understand that you can't just walk into the building, shake the manager's hand and get a job. And yes, I know what it was like before COVID, because while I'm still old, I still had a couple of jobs in high school, and yes, they were just like that. You would apply, you would get an email saying, hey, pull up for an interview, and by interview, they just kind of asked you a couple questions. They said, do you want to start working right now? And then you start working. And honestly, that is such a difference from it is right now. But without further delay, let's get on to the first TikTok.
America lost 33,000 jobs in June. At this point, we're just getting degrees so we can live with our parents. Because what's the point of getting a degree if there are less jobs than when we went to class, when we first
I didn't even know that.
Actually, better question, where are these jobs going? Are they leaving America? If so, take me with you, jobs.
Probably automation.
Let me go to a better land, a land of financial security, a land of salaries, or at least a livable pay. And you know what? Someone needs to refresh Indeed.com. Facts, okay? Because, why are you giving me this false hope when I sign on into Indeed, making me think that there are all these jobs when in reality, none of them are hiring, okay? In fact, there are 33,000 less jobs than what you got going on there, Indeed. What's up with that? Refresh yourself, okay? Because, we can't... Let it out, man. Can't. Stop. I get your frustration. They lied to us that we're going to get more jobs because, honestly... when I look around, it's looking pretty unemployed around here.
Now, see, that's something I've been saying since, I even got out of high school. It seems like the world was so much better when I was in school. But the second that I get out into the real world, the second that I start making some money for myself, all of a sudden, there's so many different hurdles that we have to jump through. And yes, Indeed is a really good idea in concept, but it's too good of an idea because now everybody's hopping on it. Now there's so much competition, and not even forgetting the fact that there's ghost jobs out there. People literally just make listings so that it looks good for the company. Hey, look, we're hiring these many jobs and all this and all that. And I know AI is kind of more so a fad now, right? And don't get me wrong, it'll still eventually get to a point where it's going to replace everybody, but we're already starting to notice the effects of it. Now, me personally, I wanted to get into the field of IT, and that's still something that I want to pursue, but it's weird whenever you see charts saying, hey, you know what, even IT is getting taken over by jobs. And you have to really think about it. Back then you had people who worked on assembly lines. One person turned a bolt, one person installed this, another person installed that. All of a sudden, those jobs aren't really necessarily needed because now we have machines to do it. And as technology increases, we are literally outworking ourselves. I know a big thing that everybody's talking about right now is universal basic income, which I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if that's actually something that's going to be beneficial for us, but we'll see as we go along.
I don't think you're trying hard enough.
Bro, what? I've applied to 94 jobs this week.
Okay, what about Indeed?
Scrap the whole thing.
LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on there 5 times a day.
Have you even tried reaching out to people at the company?
Yes, and they won't email me back.
Has anyone emailed you back?
Yeah, I've literally had calls with people at the company. They've pushed my resume, and I still don't even get an interview.
Did you follow up? Bro, yes. I don't know, man.
Now, see, that right there is actually one of the worst parts because I have a pretty stable job right now, right? And I hope I won't have to go through that process of being unemployed again. But it was specifically hard. I was unemployed for about 2 to 3 months for a short period of time before I said fuck it and worked at a warehouse job, which, by the way, never work at a warehouse job. That's one of the worst jobs you could ever possibly work at. But it was very hard whenever you apply to so many different jobs and then just randomly one day, 6 months later, you get an email back from one of the jobs you even forgot existed. One of the jobs you even forgot you applied for, and it's just a rejection letter. At that point, why are you even sending me an email? Just leave me alone. And I can't even imagine what it'd be like for somebody who went to school for 4 years. God forbid you got your master's or even your doctorates, right? And you're emailing all these different places. You get an interview, then you get another interview, then they ask for a third interview, and then they ask you to come in person, and then one more interview, All of that just get rejected because somebody knew somebody who already worked at the job. I had previously mentioned ghost jobs before, right? And some of them actually, they put the posting out there, right? Knowing damn well that they're going to hire somebody internally, or like I said before, somebody that they already knew.
I am still shocked how many people in my comment sections are underestimating how cooked the corporate job market is. I've been in recruiting for coming up to a decade in July, and I've literally never seen candidates struggle as much as they are right now on the job market. And these are not poor candidates. These are not people who are unqualified. These are some of the most qualified people I've ever seen on the job market, and they are struggling. I'm hearing about people who are applying to thousands of jobs and not hearing anything back from any company.
A big part of it is being entry level.
Rounds of interviews, like 6, 7, 8, or 9 rounds of interviews. And some people go through that and then they get ghosted. I'm hearing about
That's exactly what I was saying.
Personality assessments, take-home work, which a lot of times is unpaid. And I'm hearing about this over and over. And then when it comes to the offer stage, I am seeing people get intentionally lowballed. Like they ask for 85K and the company comes back with 65K. And I know
65K is nice, depending on if it's net or gross, but that's
somebody else
horrible in comparison to 85K.
And we can get a deal. We can literally get somebody really talented for cheap. Welcome to the 2025 job market.
And isn't that pretty shitty how they can just lowball you? Because right now we're living in a desperate time and these companies aren't dumb. They know that everybody's trying to look for jobs. You know, if you're desperately trying to find a job, think about how many other people are desperately trying to find jobs. So why would they pay somebody who is desperate a good livable wage when they could just hire somebody who's already desperate for a lower pay? And briefly earlier in that TikTok, he had mentioned, you know, some kind of assessments, take-home work. Is it not crazy how Walmart has a 100 quiz test that you have to take when you're applying? 100 questions. I mean, there are literally guides on YouTube of how to pass those. Imagine, right? Applying once, you think that you did a good job, but you know, you maybe messed up on 1 or 2 questions, maybe a couple. Now all of a sudden you are paying somebody to give you the answer guide to go work at Walmart, which granted, I know Walmart's paying pretty good. I think it's what, 20 now? I might be out of touch, but last I checked, like 2 years ago it was 18, so maybe it might have increased from that, which I'm not saying is good at all, but for Walmart, that's not that bad. And I it reminds me, I saw this one meme where it was like, where do you work? And, you know, in some of the major cities, it was saying tech, and in everywhere else, it was just saying Walmart, which is crazy how Walmart is actually one of the biggest employers in the entire United States. Sometimes you get this false sense of hope when you go on social media and you see all these people living luxurious lives until you realize that one of the biggest employers is literally Walmart.
I've applied, I think, for every job on earth. I've sent a million messages, followed up, begged, nothing. You just gotta be persistent. Employers love when you check in every day. You know what I mean? Oh yeah? You think Walmart's sitting there going, oh my God, this guy emailed us 47 times about stocking shelves.
They don't care.
We should promote him to CEO. It's about standing out. You gotta show them that you have the skills. Skills? I applied to be a janitor, and they asked if I could perform brain surgery. Maybe they just want to know you could handle pressure. Bro, it's a mop. What pressure? I literally need to know less things for this job. Not to be fucking prepped for a medical emergency in aisle 5. Sounds like you just need more experience. You know what I mean? More experience? How? What am I supposed to intern as a fucking unpaid bathroom
That's one of the biggest
cleaner
scams
first?
right there, is
That's
more experience.
actually not a bad idea. I swear, I'm gonna lose it. If I see one more LinkedIn post saying nobody wants to work anymore, I'm gonna fucking break into their office and start working against their will. That's illegal. You can't do that. So is posting a job for minimum wage and requiring 15 years of experience and a NASA certification.
Now, see, that's one of the most disgusting things that I actually thought of. The fact that these really low-end jobs require such high requirements. Yeah, just case in point. I mean, like I said, I was applying for some IT jobs, right? And even for the beginner entry-level positions, they would require 2 to 4 years. How in the world am I going to get 2 to 4 years of experience if I don't already have a job? The entry-level position just does not exist anymore here in 2025. That is just a fairy tale. If you could find an entry-level job, please let me know down below, because I I just don't think that exists. But yeah, no, man. I mean, real talk. I mean, if you just keep applying, maybe one person will hire you, and really all you need is one yes. And what I just said is a pretty heavy cope from a lot of people. And while fundamentally that is true, all you do need is one yes. If you have to go through 1,000 no's to get to that one yes, you're going to be pretty demoralized. And especially if that one yes is for a job that you don't even want, at a pay that you cannot live off of. And it's like this whole entire system is meant for us to have roommates, some kind of lover. It forces us to kind of be in this scurry to find a partner, to find a relationship, to have some sort of dual income, live with your friend or something. I don't know. There's no American dream where you live with your parents till you're 18, you move out, you move in on your by yourself, and you enjoy your time. No, that just does not exist here in 2025.
Bro, I feel like you have a better chance of finding your dad that left 10 years ago than to find a job in 2025. Like, I swear, bruh, nobody wants to hire me. It's like, why even say y'all are hiring in the first place if y'all won't even take a second to look at my application? Finding a job nowadays is like dating. You're out here shooting your shot by putting in all these applications only for these companies to end up ghosting you. Not even a simple email saying that I wasn't selected. These companies just go completely ghost on you. They out here treating me like I'm some hoe or something. Because tell me why a few months back when I was looking for a new job because my current one wanted to cut my hours like LeVar Ball cutting off his leg type shit. And so when that shit happened, I applied to over 100 jobs and we are now in March. It's been a few months and not a single one ever hit me back.
I want to pause the video right there. I mean, if you're working and they cut your hours, realistically, what can you do? You cannot do nothing. I mean, you sign up for a job that has a specific set hours and all of a sudden they take those hours away. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more employee protection. I'm pro-union. I know there's a lot of issues that come with a union, but I did work at UPS for a little bit, and I know I was there around that one time where they increased the pay rate for everybody, and I know them truckers made a ton of money. I think right now they make $120K a year, which is crazy to be a trucker. And I know not every job can do that. I mean, just look at what's going on in California right now with the whole increasing the minimum wage to $30 an hour for hotel workers. And I know that's causing a lot of businesses to stop development. I know it's causing a lot of people to get fired and laid off. I know not every job can do that, but at least some kind of customer protection for hours. And don't even get me started when the post has hiring immediately and yet they never get hired. And that post will be up there for months. It's McDonald's. Do you really need the most qualified person for McDonald's? No, you don't. You just need a body. But hey, that's why I work construction now. I mean, construction is always hiring. And even in construction, I know it's pretty difficult to get into construction. I just got really lucky in getting the job that I got. Because I know in some specific trades, you have a pretty hard time. I tried to apply to be an electrician. For reference, I'm a glazer. Yes, D1 glazer, but I put up glass. But I know I was trying to apply for some electrician jobs, and I was getting denied left, right, and center. Not even a word in. I couldn't even get a word in.
Even McDonald's, bruh. Ronald McDonald.
I was just talking about McDonald's.
By now giving people jobs. That greedy ass clown. Bro, you know you are cooked when not even McDonald's wants to hire your chopped ass. My advice to the people that are currently employed, please, for the love of God, keep that job that you hate so much. If you are one of those that keep showing up late for work, you better start coming in at least an hour early. And for the ones that keep calling in for work, I want you to hop in that 1999 Civic with 200K miles on it and go clock into that 9 to 5, little bro. Because I promise you, the way the job market is nowadays, the last thing you want to happen to you is to lose your job. But hey, y'all stay safe out there, drink plenty of water, eat your vegetables and fruits, and remember, don't be silly, wrap that willy. But anyways, I'm out of here, guys.
And I know I'm coming at this from a Gen Z perspective, but even then, some of the more older generations who are leaving their jobs or maybe are getting fired, because I know there's a lot of recent layoffs, especially this year. I know they're finally entering the job market and they're going, oh my God, they were being right. And a year or two ago, these are the same people who were saying that Gen Z are lazy, that they don't want to work. Now see, they saw that we were quiet quitting because they were expecting too much of us. And they said, nah, they want the power for themselves. So they stopped hiring people. That's what they did. Now all the leverage is on the companies. I know I said that, but it just makes sense. 2 years ago, and I could be getting my times wrong, but I remember 2 years ago, the whole ray was quiet quitting. You quiet quit, you just do your job until you find another job that is in the same field but pays you better, and then you join that one. Now that isn't an option anymore because they're just not hiring.
Young people don't want to go to work. Young people are lazy. I'm going to show you guys something. I've applied to 1,100 jobs alone
crazy.
on LinkedIn, and I've applied to
1,100
on different websites. Mind you, I graduated in the class of 2024 with a business administration major with a concentration in finance. I have 3 internships from 3 big corporations, right? Recently, I had an interview with, I went to a staffing agency, right? And I had 3 rounds of interviews. And I got a response back, and they stated that I wasn't a great fit demographically. I don't know.
Demographically? What does that even
and
mean?
Stated that I needed more entry-level experience. It's entry-level for a reason.
2025 job market is cooked.
His entry-level experience should have been those 3 internships. Is that not what internships are for? It's for people who need that experience. And I know that there's a ton of regulations now that say, you know, you can get paid, which is crazy to even think about the fact that a time before internships were unpaid. I could not even imagine that. But now they're getting paid. You got 3 different internships from a Fortune 500 company, all 3 of them Fortune 500 companies, and he still doesn't have enough experience. I remember when I was looking into some of my IT stuff, they were definitely talking about interning for some of these Fortune 500 companies because it would look good on your resume. But now in 2025, it's not even good enough. Nothing is good enough, it seems. And honestly, looking at him, I don't know how he doesn't fit demographically. That might be a lawsuit, actually.
So no one has a job. And I see everybody on TikTok being like, oh, I did all this and I still didn't get accepted. So I'm going to just tell you all the jobs that I applied for and didn't get accepted to. McDonald's, Burger King, IHOP, Denny's, Red Lobster, Denny's again, IHOP again, GameStop of all places. Friggin' Dave & Buster's. Nah. Kroger. No. Wawa. Speedway. Nope. Quick Check. Nope. Poke Bowl. No. That surprised me. Starbucks. No, but I get that one. You know, this next one might seem like a joke and you might laugh at this or you might just stare at your screen for a little bit longer than you should, but OnlyFans and Fansly. Nope and nope.
He didn't.
No, I'm not elaborating any further than that. Oh, also Cheesecake Factory as either
you know
a
what?
server,
That's your times
a
come for
busser,
Desi
or a
measures.
front desk person that greets people. No, and no.
Okay. So beyond, you know, the OnlyFans and Fansly, right? All of the jobs that he had listed were typically high schooler jobs or like barely out of high school jobs while you're in college. The stereotypical broke college student. And now he can't even get those jobs. Indeed, what world does that make sense? In what world are those not jobs where they just hire people? Are they really trying to get that maximum level profit margins? I mean, you're selling $2 burgers for $10. You got 50-cent fries, and you're bundling that $2 burger with those 50-cent fries, like 50 cents of drinks, and you're selling it for $10. Like, the profit margins are already there. And especially since I know, like, I keep talking about McDonald's, right? But that's just, I'm more knowledgeable in that. I know they get most of their money from real estate. And so the most of their profit doesn't even come from the restaurants. So why is this that they're not hiring? When I was a kid, I'm going to go back to when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I remember walking into a McDonald's and I used to see a ton of employees. And now I just saw a video the other day that there was only one worker. If I can find that video, I'll put it on the screen right now.
Y'all, she's working by herself. By herself. She's running an entire restaurant by herself. McDonald's do better. And I'm talking about by herself.
But it's crazy the difference between then and now, where you had a ton of employees working all at once to one single worker. One.
I just watched a video of a lady with 2 master's degrees and 15 years of experience in tech sales or something, she said, which sounds like, oh my God, what a like perfect candidate for anybody looking for that kind of person, right? She said she's been looking for a job for 2 years, put in 6,000 applications and blah, blah, blah. And I was sitting there listening, judging. You know, I'm judgy. And she kept explaining, like, she can't even get a job at Trader Joe's. She talked to the manager at fucking Trader Joe's, and the manager was like, yo, we got job applications backlog. And after hearing that, I promise you, I'm not being snooty when I say this. It's just, I'm not built like that. I would literally give up searching for a job and go try and make some money on my own.
Now, that is something that a lot of people are actually doing. I mean, that's something that I'm trying to do with this channel. I'm trying to make some money on the side. Of course, I need to get my requirements because I don't have the subscribers yet. I got my watch hours, though. I will say I do have my watch hours. I don't have the subscribers, though. So, you know, go ahead and subscribe. It takes 2 seconds down below. But I know a lot of people are starting to do their own thing at home where they make their own kind of money because nowadays jobs are too unreliable. It's hard to get into. It's very easy to get laid off. And in this case, right, I know the other videos, they weren't really hired because they didn't have enough experience. I believe in this case is because they're overqualified. So it's like no matter what way you look at it, you're screwed in one regard or another regard.
Like, I wouldn't, after a month or two, being that qualified and getting shit on like that, no way. 0% chance I would keep trying to get a job working for somebody. Clearly, nobody's hiring. I would just be like, okay, my focus is shifting to making money on my own. I don't give a fuck if it's reselling, wholesaling, cleaning houses. Shit, go on Turno. It's called Turn. I don't know if it still exists, but it's called Turno for like Airbnb. You gonna be, it's basically slave labor if you don't own the company. But you can make $100 a day. I would stack that as much as I could because being poor is expensive. I know. Before y'all get in the comments,
being poor is very expensive.
If you want a video on that, just let me know. Being poor is expensive. Being poor is literally a trap. It costs you money to be poor. It's insane. Y'all need to start thinking like that.
It's crazy how like some of the bank accounts you need money
just
in
start
it
trying to earn your own
to
money.
not
Something
get
will
charged.
stick. Stop being scared to fail. You're failing at the job search. I know it doesn't feel as if you're failing like they didn't accept you. No, you're failing. Stop being afraid to fail trying to make your own money. Fuck it. Go make your own money. You know it's free? Starting a new TikTok page and trying to be a clipper. Yapping on your cell phone. She made a video. She has a cell phone. Yap on your cell phone. Get 5,000 followers. Get into that TikTok shop. Start ordering samples. I don't care if you can afford one item.
Okay, I don't know what was going on at the end of the video right there, but I know that there's a ton of people, you know, who hate all the advertisements that are going on TikTok, but it just makes sense. If you can muster up this small audience to get into that, I think it's, I don't know what TikTok calls it, some kind of like paid content eligibility, whatever it's called, right? But I know they do advertisements. Oh, check out this nice and fancy keyboard, or hey, look at this nice flashlight, or whatever it is, and they earn a small commission from it. It makes sense because it's just side money, because the jobs that we have right now aren't paying either that or they're just unemployed. And what sounds better than having unlimited free time, except for, you know, of course, knowing that you need to make content, right? But you being your own boss, and that just sounds appealing to anybody, except for, you know, somebody who just wants to work underneath somebody. But the real money comes from working from yourself. And if you can even become somewhat successful enough to pay your own bills, I think it's completely worth it. I know trades, like, you know, trading coins and all that kind of stuff, selling stocks. And I invest in some stocks, right? But I know all of that kind of stuff is pretty risky. But if you are entertaining enough to blabber on a mic and have people watch you for hours and hours a day, right? Then obviously you're doing something right. And all of that leads to extra money or all of your money in your pocket, which you can use to pay off your house, your car, anything. And once you have everything paid off, now all you're doing is having true freedom. Because especially nowadays, especially in my generation, we're starting to notice this trap of people working at the same company for 30, 50 years. I know a ton of people at that one warehouse that I was talking about earlier. And when I asked them how much they got paid, it was around about the same amount that I was making. I believe at that job I was making $18 an hour. And I asked this one lady who was working there for 30 years, how much did she make? She was making 20. So are you trying to tell me that in 30 years, I would have only gotten $2 extra of pay? That just doesn't sound worth it to me. I would rather start up my own thing, do my own thing, make my own money.
And another thing, because this gets me heated, unless you've been on a job search in the last 2 years, you do not know how bad it is out here. The job market is trash, basura. It's been bad. I'm talking about applying to 20 jobs a day, reaching out to recruiters, doing this on LinkedIn, and hearing crickets. People are trying. People are not lazy. And then people who have a job give the most useless advice, like, why don't you tailor your resume to every single job? You don't think that I've done that? Unless your job is hiring and you have a referral.
It works better, but that just takes so much time. And especially if you're somebody younger like me, you probably hear from your parents saying, oh yeah, there's work everywhere. Everywhere. But then you actually look out for yourself and there's nobody hiring. Where are the jobs? But yeah, I think I'm going to end the video off like that. If you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the content I'm making, please don't forget to leave a like and of course subscribing. And if you have a future video recommendation, don't forget to drop it down in the comments below. And with that all done and said, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.